Senator Chris Van Hollen, Democrat from Maryland, just did something that almost never happens in a congressional hearing. He asked the director of the FBI a simple question. Do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Kash Patel refused to answer. He did not say yes. He did not say no. He said, I do not lie to Congress.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
That was not the question. The question was whether he knows that lying to Congress is a crime. Every school child knows that lying to Congress is a crime. Every witness who testifies before Congress is warned that it is a crime. The FBI director, the top law enforcement official in the country, would not acknowledge that basic fact. Van Hollen had already caught Patel making provably false statements. He called him out for an urban legend about margaritas in El Salvador. He called him out for claiming that a bar tab was paid with public money when it was not. He noted that Patel had made other provably false statements. And then he asked Patel if he had listened to or read about Brian Driscoll's statements about his firing. Patel said no.
Have you had a chance to listen to or read about Brian Driscoll's statements about what you said to him and the reasons for his firing?
No, I have not, sir.
Van Hollen asked if Patel had redirected FBI resources toward immigration enforcement. Patel said no one has been permanently reassigned, but acknowledged surges. Van Hollen pressed. Patel had earlier claimed that none of the fired agents had Iran expertise. Van Hollen asked, did the group fired include people with counter-espionage experience with respect to Iran? Patel said he didn't have the list in front of him. He didn't know. The FBI director didn't know whether he had fired experts on Iran. Van Hollen said that was extremely troubling. He called Patel a disgrace.
You are a disgrace, Mr. Director.
Not nearly as big as
the fact that you can't answer that question.
Patel responded by attacking Van Hollen's bar tab, accusing him of spending $7,000 of public money. Van Hollen corrected him. It was a 50-member half party, not public money. Patel would not back down. Van Hollen ended his questioning. He yielded, but his words lingered. The FBI director will not say that lying to Congress is a crime. The FBI director makes provably false statements under oath. The FBI director does not know whether he has fired Iran experts. The FBI director attacks senators personally when questioned. This is not oversight. This is a confrontation. Let's watch. I'll break it down.
Chairman. Thank you, Senator Murkowski. Senator Van Hollen and I are going to just have a couple of wrap-up questions, and then we'll conclude the hearing, and I'll turn to Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Director Patel, I've been listening carefully to your responses to some of my colleagues, and I want to start with a question that Senator Coons asked you that relates to this article where the headline is Kash Patel's latest firings ousted agents with expertise in Iran. The article says that these individuals were fired for their role in the classified documents investigations of Donald Trump. First of all, is that true?
The article, just like all the other articles you cited, is false, and there's ongoing litigation, so I can't address it.
Okay. You did answer Senator Coons, and I understood your answer to be that the people that were fired, that none of them were part of the group that had Iran expertise. Is that your answer?
No, he asked if they were Iran experts. I said they were not.
Were the group fired? Did it include people who were Iran experts?
No.
Did it include people who were involved in counter-espionage activities with respect to Iran?
I don't have the list in front of me.
So you don't know whether or not you fired people with counter-espionage experience with respect to Iran. You don't know the answer to that question.
I terminated anyone and everyone that weaponized law enforcement.
I see. So it was related, obviously, to the classified documents case. So
that's not what I said.
Well, Director Patel, I understood you to say in response to Senator Murray that you've not redirected FBI resources toward the immigration enforcement effort.
That's not what I said.
Okay. Have you redirected resources away from your core FBI responsibilities toward the mass deportation effort?
No one at the FBI has been permanently reassigned on the immigration front, and when we pull the numbers, the FBI's overall operational field expenditures surged periodically for immigration enforcement activities, including the arrest of 2,000 people with direct ties to foreign terrorist organizations, was 2.4%.
So, okay, so the key word there, I guess, was permanently. You have not permanently reassigned. Is that what you reassigned temporarily?
Surges, yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had a chance to listen to or read about Brian Driscoll's statements about what you said to him and the reasons for his firing?
No, I have not, sir.
So let me just say this, Mr. Director. In your response to me earlier, where you had a little bit of a blow-up, you made a couple provably false statements.
So did you.
No, Mr. Director, I was reading about and asking you to respond to allegations that are made. In fact, I was giving you an opportunity to do that, and you took that opportunity. But in the process, you made these provably false statements that I know are sort of like urban legend in right-wing media about margaritas in El Salvador, which is provably false. And so coming from the mouth of an FBI director to make provably false statements in a hearing like this is extremely troubling. And it leads me to ask whether or not the other things you've been saying are false statements. And so because that's a provably false statement. You made a couple others that are provably false. And this is from the mouth of the FBI director.
The only one that made false statements is you.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
I didn't ask you
that.
that.
Lied to Congress is you.
Do you? I'm not testifying here, sir, and I don't lie.
Maybe the next time you run up a $7,000 bar tab, we can talk about it.
Well, see, there you go, lying again. You suggested
in the FEC report. I'll post it right now.
You suggested it was
Hang
public.
on.
It wasn't public money, as you know. That was for a 50-member staff party.
So it was a $7,000 bar tab.
Mr. Patel, I'm glad. Let me just say in closing, Mr. Chairman, two things. I'm glad that you have agreed to take the test regarding, whether you have alcohol problems. I'm glad you agreed with me to do that. You still haven't answered my final question. Do you know, Mr. Director, that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that?
I do not lie to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
And you're insinuating that I am because
I asked you whether you know.
You want to correct your time in this session where you got steamrolled by the facts so you can have a Twitter narrative so you can go raise more money and spend more money on $7,000 bar tabs.
Just let the record
I'm not
show,
going to give
Mr.
it
Chairman.
to you.
The Director of the FBI apparently does not want to answer the question about whether or not it's a crime to lie to Congress, and I find that extremely troubling.
I find it troubling that you lie to the American people every day.
You are a disgrace, Mr. Director.
Not nearly as big as you.
The fact that you can't answer that question, I will. That concludes my questioning, Mr. Chairman. But I'm obviously very troubled.
Question for the Director of ATF, Director Sakata. I want to talk just a minute about.
There is a moment in this hearing that should terrify every American who believes in the rule of law, and it is not Patel's evasions. It is not his provably false statements. It is his refusal to answer a question that a child could answer. Senator Chris Van Hollen asked Kash Patel a simple question. Do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? The answer is yes. Every witness who testifies before Congress is warned of this. It is basic. It is fundamental. It is the foundation of oversight. And the director of the FBI, the top law enforcement official in the country, would not say yes. He said, I have not lied to Congress. That was not the question. He said, I do not lie to Congress. That was not the question. He attacked Van Hollen's bar tab. He accused Van Hollen of wanting a Twitter narrative. He did everything except answer the question. Van Hollen started with a newspaper article. The headline, Kash Patel's latest firings ousted agents with expertise in Iran. The article said these individuals were fired for their role in the classified documents investigations of Donald Trump. Patel called the article false. Van Hollen asked if Patel had told Senator Coons that none of the fired agents had Iran expertise. Patel said they were not. Van Hollen asked if the group included people with counter-espionage experience with respect to Iran. Patel said he didn't have the list in front of him. He didn't know. The FBI director did not know whether he had fired experts on Iran. Van Hollen pressed. He asked if Patel had redirected FBI resources toward immigration enforcement. Patel said no one has been permanently reassigned. He used the word surges. Van Hollen noted the key word, permanently. He asked if Patel had read Brian Driscoll's statements about his firing. Patel said no. Then Van Hollen called Patel out. He said Patel had made provably false statements. He mentioned the urban legend about margaritas in El Salvador. He said coming from the mouth of an FBI director, making provably false statements in a hearing is extremely troubling. Patel shot back. The only one making false statements is you. Van Hollen then asked his final question. Do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Patel did not answer. He said he has not lied to Congress. He did not answer the question. Van Hollen asked again. Patel attacked. He accused Van Hollen of insinuation. He accused him of wanting a Twitter narrative. He brought up a $7,000 bar tab. Van Hollen corrected him. It was for a 50-member half-party. It was not public money. Patel would not back down. Van Hollen ended his questioning. He said the director of the FBI apparently does not want to answer the question about whether it's a crime to lie to Congress. He said he finds that extremely troubling. He said Patel lies to the American people every day. He called him a disgrace. He yielded. The hearing moved on. But the question remains. Why would the director of the FBI refuse to acknowledge that lying to Congress is a crime? There are only two possibilities. One is that he does not know. The director of the FBI does not know that lying to Congress is a crime. That is impossible. He is a former public defender, a former prosecutor, a former White House official. He knows the law. The other possibility is that he knows but will not say it. He will not acknowledge that he is bound by the same laws as every other witness. He will not admit that he can be held accountable. He will not give the committee the satisfaction of a yes, because saying yes would be an acknowledgement that he is subject to oversight. And Kash Patel does not believe he is subject to oversight. He believes he answers only to Donald Trump. He has fired FBI agents who worked on cases against Trump. He has redirected resources to immigration enforcement at Trump's behest. He has made provably false statements under oath. And when asked if he knows that lying to Congress is a crime, he refuses to answer. That is not the behavior of a public servant. That is the behavior of a man who believes he is above the law. Van Hollen's final word was disgrace. It is the right word. The director of the FBI should be able to answer a simple question about the basic obligations of a witness. He cannot, or he will not. Either way, it is a disgrace.